President Biden showing America some proof of life today, returning to the White House 6 days since we saw him battle the short stairs back to Delaware. The big guy's free of COVID, free of his campaign, and announced on X that he will address the nation from the Oval Office at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Biden also briefly mumbled today to prove that he is not artificial intelligence.
Mr. President, how are you feeling?
How are you feeling,
How are you
sir?
feeling? Why did you drop out of the election?
Was it a difficult decision to make?
And KJP letting the ladies of The View know Joe's still the boss, even if he is ghosting the country.
He stepped down from running and being the nominee, but he's very much still the president. I think the letter, if you read it thoroughly, there's no spin to it. There's no spin.
Calls have gone further, even including vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance saying if he's not up to serving 4 more years, can he serve out the rest of his term?
I think that's ridiculous. Seriously.
He's ridiculous.
Not me. But what I will say is, like, the president decided to not run for re-election. That's it. That's all he decided on. He wants to continue to do the work.
George Washington also showed this country how to step down and pass the baton. And so it's very patriotic that the president stepped aside.
Oh, my God. She is an idiot. And you can use that adjective for any one of them there, Katie. So he's going to be doing something at 8 p.m. Do you think he will be the late President Biden, or will he show up on time?
Oval Office address, probably show up on time, I would think, right at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
For someone who claims to care a lot about his legacy and the family around him, this is a pretty rough way to go out, with days of not being seen, crawling into the Oval Office, making this address. And then I think what's going to be the most interesting to watch is how he tries to continue to glom on to the Harris campaign and what they do to kind of keep him away. Because he called into the headquarters yesterday, which makes sense, passing the baton. But he said, we still have a lot of work to do. And he's implying that they want to do it together. And they're going to be like, Joe, it's time to move on. This is our new campaign. Thank you very much. So he's going to be a lame duck. And it's going to be of his own making and by his own party.
Yeah, he's like the guy that, like, graduated from high school 2 years ago, but still hangs out in the parking lot. Speaking of, so Brian, Biden's leaving and yet you remain. In a weird way, I don't know if we're better off.
Weird. That is weird.
Yes.
Right. I just say, I don't know where that crazy question was. Shouldn't he leave right away?
Okay, let me ask you. Here's a really good question. Tomorrow, he's talking as head of state. He can't actually say anything about the race. He can't say anything about Kamala Harris, like endorsing her, because that's the Hatch Act, correct? See, that was a Fox and Friends question.
Right. And, do I get to choose which question I want to answer?
Yes.
All right.
No one's listening.
All right. That is not true. You have the most popular show in America.
That is true.
All right. So I will say this, a couple of things. If you care about the country, he should go right away. If you're a Republican, you care about winning the election, he should stay right there. But what has come out so clear is that he is not capable of doing this job and hasn't been for years. All the stories are just beginning to come out. If you read the Wall Street Journal about how he can't keep a straight thought to donors, how as late as early as 2021, he couldn't even explain his infrastructure deal to Democrats, to the caucus. So bad after he left, Nancy Pelosi had to quickly say, this is really how we're going to spend $1 trillion. And also, I would add on top of that, internationally, our allies as well as our enemies know that he is shot. So we are absolutely in danger every day he's there. And the fact that KJP can go on The View and act as if she wasn't lying to us every single day is unbelievable to me. I understand spinning for your boss, but flat out lying every day and getting insulted when someone asks her, don't you think if he's stepping aside, he should step aside now? It's showing he can't do the job.
Yeah, I expected The View to eat her for breakfast, but apparently they'd already had lunch.
Right.
Jessica, he's going to resign tomorrow night, isn't he? Why else would he do this? We already know he's stepping down. He's going to resign.
No.
No.
He knows that the paper statement was not enough and that he owes the American public an explanation of this. And he can talk about the thought process. All of the reporting confirms that he really did make this decision essentially in isolation. Assume this his family. That may be, and it might be that Nancy Pelosi was going to go public with everything the week after, but this was about him and I assume Jill and Hunter and his 2 closest advisors who did come down there. And I will be very interested to hear him talk about it. And I certainly don't think that with 6 months left on the job that there's any reason that he needs to resign. You're running for a job that would keep you in it for 4.5 more years versus doing 6 more months. How long was Reagan basically being propped up? 18 to 24 months?
Oh, no.
Come on. Oh, come on. Of course, it's not the same because I'm talking about Reagan.
No, but Reagan.
Also,
True.
thank you for being honest, Greg. I also want to say I've seen a lot of Republicans doing interviews about this. Like Josh Hawley showed up. Tom Cotton showed up on CNN and was talking to John Berman, and he tried to use the coup line. And John Berman said, come on. Like, if the standard bearer for your party tried to overturn a free and fair election, it's not going to work for you to go with that angle. This DEI hire stuff, also not going to work. People will be turned off by all of that. They have to run a policy-oriented campaign. I mean, the video of J.D. Vance calling her a lonely cat lady because she's someone who didn't have biological children when she's in a thriving and happy marriage and has 2 stepkids. All of that is anathema for the Republican Party, and they can't stop themselves from doing it.
Well, I mean, the delegates had their nominee, and she's clearly an illegitimate candidate if they're going to totally ignore those people. But I don't have time to argue this. I saved the rest for last. Dana.
The rest for last.
I just came up with that.
I like it.
Tell me, what's he going to say tomorrow, and how long is it going to last?
I don't think it will be very long. You think that he just gave an Oval Office address after that failed assassination attempt on President Trump, and it didn't go that great. Okay, so then he gets COVID, and they were hiding him, and then yesterday he calls into the campaign event, and then. It was like when your parents would listen in on your call before hanging up. She's like, I know you're still there, Joe. It's like, to your point. So they're going to say, we're good. Nope, we don't need you to go anywhere. You just stay right here. Like, there's going to be no problems. I think the Republicans are barking up the wrong disenfranchised tree. If 87% of Democrats are now saying they wanted this change, they don't feel disenfranchised. So you can't, I get it. I understand, the rules and everything. I wouldn't do that. I do continue to be surprised, though maybe I shouldn't be, that just last week the media was in a froth over the White House press office not telling the truth about Joe Biden's condition. When is that going to transfer over to Kamala Harris? Because remember, on the week ahead, every week that the White House put out, it said that she had lunch with him every Wednesday. I would love to know if that's actually true.
That is true.
I want to see the subway bill.
Yeah, me too. You know what? Where's Jill?
Dr. Jill, she's on her way to the Olympics.
Perfect timing. All right.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.